Yes, just, say you're approved tomorrow. When can you start selling product to customers? How much inventory do you have on hand? What does that all look like?
So if we got approval tomorrow, then there is some process that we would have to go through. We'd have to redo the labeling because we would be in possession then of the final label and the packaging and all that kind of stuff. And we would have to repackage and relabel our product and then send that to the FDA and have them sign off on it. So all of that back and forthing, we're guessing, would be about 6 weeks. We have a stockpile of product now that we could ship tomorrow if we were able to, if we wanted to. So we have a stockpile. So if we got approval tomorrow, then our estimate is that we could ship our first product or, start filling orders 6 weeks after that.
Hi everyone, welcome to Single Value. So today we're looking at Humacyte for obvious reasons. I hope this video doesn't pause my other one, which was sort of weird. So we're just going to continue a bit further on regarding the discussion of Humacyte and where they are going forward with after they've gotten this FDA approval. As you've just heard from that recording, that was from the last presentation they did before the FDA approval. So now that they've gotten the FDA approval, we can kind of start looking at what they need to do, which is basically finalize that labeling, go back and forth with the FDA to just finalize everything, and then after that they can get things onto the market and just start selling, which hopefully they can ramp up at a good speed. Now that they got the approval, I think it sort of eases some worries, because I think some people were quite worried around the financial health, particularly the amount of cash they're holding isn't like a lot. Like I think they hold slightly around 6 months. Like their last quarterly that they just pushed out, it was their loss from the operation was about $30 million. So you're probably expecting by the end of this year, at the end of December, they've lost another $30 million. So potentially they might have to raise again just before, just to ramp up, like possibly in a few months' time. Because I don't think they hold, possibly not enough to really get to the point where they're profitable. But I think they only need to raise once more. As long as the product gets traction, then I think they can get to a break-even or profitable situation very, very soon. But obviously we have to see how well they sell. And obviously they've got to ramp things up, and the expense is going to go a bit higher, so they're going to need a bit more money. I don't think the money that they hold right now possibly may or may not be enough. Like apparently they do have a good amount of inventory that they can get out, but possibly they've got to spend a bit more. So I think that's also why the market's kind of holding back a bit. So firstly you have like people trading the stock in and out, and people shorting the stock, and also people just getting a bit nervous around the stock and taking their profits early on, possibly at when it went over $6, which probably had it coming downwards, and then too much pressure just pushed it down to about $4.64, which is crazy value. Like they've got an FDA approval, and the stock's still at levels that it was at not too long ago when it didn't have FDA approval. So that's the crazy part. I think around the share price, it's still holding at this level. Obviously we've only been having one trading day, and the news was still fresh. Like over the weekend I expect the news to filter outwards, and there's going to be a lot more interest in the stock later on. So I'm expecting next week to just the stock to do fairly well. Like I think it should at least slowly trend upwards, if not have a good performance, at least 20-30%. Like obviously I don't control the share market, and what I believe is possibly not what other people believe. But even then, like, the value that this stock is trading at right now is crazy. Like, they've got an FDA approval for a product that's first in its class. Like, there's no other product even remotely close to what they have. So, you know, there's no competitors coming along anytime soon. And they've got a huge advantage. So I don't know why the market's not, you know, like, buying it up. Obviously, it's just the first trading day. We have to wait. Like, if this stock is still trading at this level in 2 weeks, now that's when I would start to call it insane. But, you know, markets can be irrational. But obviously, on the longer term, I do expect it to go upwards, like, significantly higher than what it is today. Obviously, my opinion. Yeah, like, especially once sales start coming along, which hopefully is in about 6 weeks. Obviously, we've got the holidays, so possibly add another week or two. So if, say, like, in 2 months' time, say like end of February, they start getting sales on the road, then I think the market starts catching on to the stock. And once they start reporting revenues, the market definitely starts catching on to the stock, especially at this current level. Like, it's crazy value. Like, some companies have a lot less and are valued at a much higher value. So for this company to be valued at this level, it's pretty weird. Obviously people have a bad experience in the past, waiting for this FDA approval, watching management just dilute this company. Like, the last couple of raises were not enjoyable, but they had to do it, of course, because they were running out of money. And it was getting to a point where if FDA took even longer, they would possibly have to do another raise just to get things out, just to get the sales, you know, started. Right now, I think they can get the sales started, but I think probably in a few months' time they'll have to raise again. Or potentially they might just raise off the back of share price just gone to, like, I mean, it's not gone that high, so, like, I think it's crazy to raise now after you've already raised tens of millions of dollars. So I think possibly in 3 months' time they will probably raise after they get some initial sales going. And yeah, like, regarding other questions, obviously there's some, you know, worries around those legal cases, and those cases were around, like, potentially the management hid stuff from shareholders regarding the delay, that there might have been other kind of reasons why there was a delay, and like, there possibly could have been, but, like, it doesn't look like it. Like, given the FDA has just recently approved everything, it doesn't look like there was any delay. It was just the FDA taking longer than usual. So now that has happened, those legal cases look very, very weak. Before the approval, people were still second guessing everything. Now that there is approval, I think it becomes slightly clearer and those legal cases become weaker. But in a way, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because it just keeps management on their feet, because they know there's a legal team after them. If they do anything wrong, there's someone keeping an eye. So it's not necessarily a bad thing that there's legal cases after them. It's not necessarily after the company, it is after the management team. So in a sense, it's not a bad thing to just have some accountability from them. And yeah, like, I think things should look a lot smoother for them now. Obviously they were stuck in limbo for such a long time that, like, shareholders were getting pretty miserable. Like, no one likes waiting, particularly past the review date, and then having to wait, you know, months after that, without any communication from the FDA whatsoever. But now that you have gotten the communication and it was an approval, yeah, I don't think there's too much of a worry. Like, financially, obviously, they have a limited runway of cash, but it should be enough to get sales on the board, restore some confidence in the share price, raise a bit more money, possibly another 50-60 million, hopefully on a higher share price, and then I think that gets them to the profitable kind of point, because like basically on like a 30 million type of on 30 million they would have to sell like 1,000 of those vessels per quarter, which is very doable, and in a sense like they would possibly be around about break even, possibly just maybe slightly above 1,000, maybe like 1,500 like of those vessels, and then they should be break even. Like their capacity was like I think just below 30,000 I think for their that they can expand to. So over time they'll be expanding their capacity and scaling up as they get more sales on the board, and they'll be reaching that breaking even point. So basically we're talking about like 4,000 to 5,000 to break even, and then more than that to basically start making a profit, which is very, very doable. But obviously after they get these sales, after they get approval, they're also going to be running more trials, so I guess that's going to be burning a bit more cash, so maybe they won't get to break even on 5,000 kind of vessels, so possibly maybe 10,000 vessels. Right now we're still guessing, I guess, because those trials, it depends how big those trials need to be run and when they'll be run. Obviously they've already gotten results for the other trial for hemodialysis, and they just have to get the application through, so possibly they may not be running too many trials while they get this application through, while they get sales going, so they may not be burning more cash than they are right now. Hopefully not, because like they are on a limited runway. So I think possibly they will try to get to a break-even point or profitable point first, and then maybe raise money, and then possibly just spend a bit more trying to grow sales and then get more trials going. But yeah, like I think the future for the company is definitely looking much more brighter now that they've got an approval. They can start to get sales, which will fund the company for the longer term, and then I think you can start to see this company get more valuable over time, because with this approval it means it is a stronger chance of approval for their next application, which is kind of like a branch of this kind of application. So this application is the main one, and given it's literally the same product but for a different use, so it's apparently just takes 6 months, but obviously for this application, that's just like for the recent like approval, they've taken way more than 6 months. So again, we can just only take 6 months as a guidance. But I mean, even if they took longer, as long as the company's able to keep going and generating revenue, I don't think you'll be too worried. But obviously, the next application is also going to be exciting because it's for a bigger market. So yeah, like I think it will be quite interesting to see as we go. And yeah, like I mean, there's not much to really say for now, except just to be patient, let the team do its work. By the end of February, I think we'll be in a really good position, particularly once sales can get started, and then hopefully the share price is much higher before they do any capital raise, because obviously there's a few things mentally that is holding the stock down. Possibly people sold down on the stock to end the year, but it's kind of disappointing, obviously, to finish around $4.64. But I think eventually we'll be at a much higher pricing. It's weird. Like this stock should easily be 50% higher, minimum. Like I don't see why it's not trading above $1 billion. It should. It's a pretty breakthrough technology. Like, there's no other company at the moment that has approval that is similar. So yeah, like, this company is ahead of everyone else, and it's weird. Like, AI technology is trending at the moment, and everyone's just like, AI technology. But like, what these guys are doing is also pretty breakthrough. Obviously, I don't know if the market's taken notice or their past has just put a sour taste in everyone's mouth and everyone's a bit uncertain about this company. But I think once they get sales on the road, confidence kind of restores back in this company, and eventually the share price will do well. I think you just have to be patient. And yeah, like, there's not much, like, literally the only thing you really need to do is be patient and just not do anything. Obviously you want to watch the share price, but it's going to be volatile and it's going to play with your emotions. But main thing is just be calm, be patient, let the stock do its work, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully next week we're in for a good week, with more people, with the news having filtered through. And even better would be a short squeeze. Well, it wouldn't be a short squeeze entirely. It'll be like a gamma squeeze or something. Like there's so many shorts in this stock. Like, people need to like buy stock and really, squeeze those guys. Like, I do not know why people are still shorting this stock even after approval. Obviously, they still think they can get it down again, but yeah, like, my guess is as good as yours when these guys might leave. Sometimes they never do. Like, even Tesla faces a good amount of shorts, so yeah, like, you can't get rid of them entirely. But I think you can definitely, as a company does well, it'll bring in more buyers, and then eventually those shorts majority should give up soon, and that should be good for the share price. Alright, let me know if you've got any questions or comments, and good luck investing.